Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, call hello Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Once again, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders, great millstone, who through the Holy Spirit continue to push His truth out. Salutations to Akim, also out there on the highways and byways across four corners of this earth, pushing His truth, trying to wake up the remaining hopeful elect. This is Naamal, the DC camp, and today's video is going to focus on uh, what the civil rights, one of the biggest lies that was ever orchestrated against our people. And this gentleman whose video I'm about to play, uh, there have been many times I've quoted uh, him. His name is Dr. Claude Anderson. He was in the Jimmy Carter administration in the late 70s, from Florida, I believe. And he wrote a book back in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, called Powernomics, or into the mid 90s, sometime in that time frame. He also wrote a book called Black Labor, White Wealth, and a couple of others, one of which I have right here is called, hold on, let me see, make sure you can get the title here. Dirty Little Secrets About Black History, Its Heroes, and Other Troublemakers. All right, very good. And I will be, of course, reading from a couple of the segments in here. But another one, big lie, was what we were all taught in school, was that we should all be thankful for President Abraham Lincoln for freeing us Negroes. Well, as it turns out, nah, nah. Don't even go there. But yeah, that's another big lie. But as you can see on the screen here, he's going into the civil rights and what it actually did. Not talking about what all this shit you were taught in school about, is supposed to be about, they read or play excerpts from Martin Luther King's speech about it shouldn't be about the color of your skin, but the content of your character, or and some other shit. You want to be equal to who? This is all a bunch of shit. He's gonna go into it, and you're gonna understand too how our supposed leaders, how they just left us high and dry. They just said fuck it. All right, so let's go ahead and play this video. And remember, I'm going for scriptures, Daniel 9 and 12, on down to like 15. So here we go.
Social integration is a weakening process. If I start putting gin in the coffee and I make the coffee stronger, I'm weakening. So when Martin Luther came in, he picked it up and he started saying, what we want is show white folk that we are acceptable. And to take the focus on our blackness. And when that started, they were successful. Then black leadership gave up and say, hey, we can't do it anymore, so we'll just go with what we call benign neglect and neglectness, which make black folk disappear. And that way nobody has to focus on black issues. And that Martin Luther took the focus off of black folk and put it on social disadvantage. It was twisted and merged into a more called political correctness everywhere. So therefore, they corrupted and distorted the 13th Amendment, 14th Amendment, 15th Amendment, civil rights.
Which was for who?
Those laws were written specifically and solely for the black people.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd often said it in a different way. I talked about diversity. That's another bad word when it comes to us, because what? When you think after chattel slavery supposedly ended in 1865, you had all this great influx of immigrants. You had, well, before then, late 1840s into the 50s, with the, because of the great potato famine over there in Ireland, and you had all these Irish people come over, and then you start having this great influx of Eastern European Jewry that came, and then the turn of the 20th century, Ellis Island, received all these people from Europe, and uh, to what did that do for us? But that wasn't good enough. He mentioned the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. Well, yeah, that was particularly for us. All right. So here comes the next. Oh, it's going up to the late 40s into the 50s, where you had, because of the lynchings and everything, and you had the start of the so-called civil rights movement as we know it. All right. With this guy, Martin Luther King, whose actual last name was White. And there's pictures of him with the Rothschilds. You got to understand, when before integration, we had our own businesses and everything, and I always make the point about Jackie Robinson, and nobody ever asked, well, his son was always getting into trouble and everything, because he was acting out because he knew his father was a sellout. What happened with that, when you think of the Brooklyn Dodgers, as a matter of fact, real quick, let me go, because I want to get this guy's name right when I bring it up. Crap. Let's see. Brooklyn Dodgers. Let's see. Okay, I want to make sure I get his name right and see about. Let's see. His last name was Ricky. What was his first name? Let's see. Branch Rickey. Okay, that's it. And planning, the behind-the-scenes planning, because you got to remember, at the time this is going on, you had the Negro Leagues. So all of that money that the so-called white man was missing out on. Let's see. Okay, let's read this real quick. So, in fact, okay, what he's talking about at the beginnings here is there was this big, storm. Of course, you were in that day. Everybody's complaining, and there's this storm brewing about whether or not they were going to let him in. It says, in fact, the general public never did realize just how violent a storm it was. Jackie Robinson came into the Brooklyn organization over the expressed opposition of much of baseball's top brass. There were official prophecies of rioting and bloodshed, and various ball players engaged in undercover protest movements. Some of this got into print, but much of it never went beyond the inner circles of the Brooklyn Club. I served as assistant to Dodger president Branch Rickey during much of this period, and I feel that the full story should be told. All right. So what my point being, I didn't want to go into all this. I'll post it. You can read it for yourself. It says, by the middle of 1944, he had a fair idea of what Negro talent was available in the Caribbean countries, Central and South America, and Mexico. He was now scrutinizing the so-called Negro Leagues in the United States. He soon concluded that they were not leagues in the recognized sense of the word. The teams played an inconsistent number of ball games in league competition. Those with the better rosters would play between 40 and 45 league games a year, while the poorer teams had as few as 25. The Negro teams played as many as 10 and 12 exhibition games each week, sometimes 3 in a single day. Again, think of that money. They did not have uniform player contracts. In fact, there were no contracts at all except for a few box office stars like Satchel Paige and Josh Gibson. All right. Many big league baseball clubs were profiting from Negro baseball. They rented their baseball parks to the booking agents for big Negro games at a guaranteed per game minimum of $1,000, with the option of taking 25% of the gross receipts. God. Since the booking agents exacted an additional 15% of the top, the Negro teams were left with only 60% of the gross. Little wonder that they had to engage in those marathon schedules of exhibition games. See that shit? Exploitation. That's the word you got to keep in the back of your mind when it comes, because everybody's mind seems to be focused on chattel slavery. What happened 1865 and before, and they forget that this motherfucker just changed up, just switched his game up. All right. Let's see. That's my point. Like I said, I'll save this and I'll put this in the description box. But as I mentioned, let's go to Daniel, because you got to bear in mind, nobody has gone through what we have. All right. This latest bullshit with Kanye West, and this, someone made a point, one of the programs I was looking at, that this guy isn't stupid, he's not crazy or anything, this is for his benefit. All right, he's not trying to piss off the racist so-called white man. This is about, and of course, as we all expected, he apologized for saying really nothing. All right. Anyway, so let's go here. This is Daniel 9 and 12. It says, "And he hath confirmed his words, which he spake against us and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil." Is this not a great evil that we're under? "For under the whole heaven hath not been done as hath been done upon Jerusalem." Remember, Jerusalem is a people before it's a place. All right. 13. "As it is written in the law of Moses, all this evil has come upon us. Yet made we not our prayer before the Most High Yahweh our power, that we might turn from our iniquities and understand thy truth. Therefore hath the Most High watched upon the evil and brought it upon us. For the Most High Yahweh our power is righteous in all his works, which he doeth, for we obeyed not his voice." Now real quick, I'm going to go to, let's see here. Let's go to Psalms 17 and 13. He says, "Arise, O Most High Yahweh, confront him." This is David now. "Cast him down," because he was having, issues with these Edomites, these so-called white people. He could not stand them. Don't believe me? Read Psalms 138. All right, and 139. It says, "Arise, O Most High Yahweh, confront him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked. Thy sword." Let's read this. Just something seems hinky with that. Let's see. See, you see, that's why I went to this. That's why when you're used to reading, see here it says, "by your sword," and here it says, "which is thy sword." There's a big difference. This is Psalm 17:13 again. "Arise, O Most High Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword." See how they're trying to pull that? Now this is the first time I noticed this switch up. "Deliver my soul from the wicked by your sword." What the hell? Let me make sure I didn't do something here. Hold on. Okay, that could be it. Salakia. I did not realize that, but it just goes to show you I'm paying attention. Okay. Let's see. Bibles. This is the one I want. How did that happen? But we caught the mistake, so there you have it. Let's see. There you go. Okay, I did not realize that that was my doing. Salakia. All right, so we caught it. Once again, Psalm 17:13. Arise, O Most High Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. And that's the point. All right. The bottom of the barrel, the basest of men. Since we screwed up, this is the piece of crap that's over us. And hopefully you will see that no matter how much education you get, none of that, it's not going to make any difference, because the person that hates you, all right, is going to make sure that you never prosper, because everybody knows who we are. Let's go, since I'm in Psalms. All right, this is by definition, all right, is an example of conspiracy. This is Psalms 83:1. It says, O Most High, do not keep silence. All right. All right. Verse 2 says, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. All right. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us, and you're going to find out who the us is just shortly. Let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel, Yasher Allah, may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee. And here we go, verse 6. The tabernacles of Edom, the so-called white man, and the Ishmaelites, the so-called Arabs, of Moab, the so-called Chinese, and the Hagarenes. 7. Gebal and Ammon, the so-called Japanese, and Amalek. All right. Who's Amalek? That's the so-called Jew. All right. Those are the ones. These are the slick, sly ones. I'm thinking of that song from the Lost Generation by, I believe, 1970. It's called The Sly, the Slick, the Wicked. All right. These are actually the tribe of Edom that really run things. All right. It says the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Those are your Hamites there. All right. So these are the ones mainly. All right. That got together. You look at the UN and all those assholes. All right. They all come together. So what are we going to do about these Israelites? All right. And that includes your brethren. Yes, for you that don't think that the Northern Kingdom, the so-called American Indian, the Reubenites, Seminoles, and all those from the Arctic Circle on down, the Inuits, all the way down to the bottom of the North American Western Hemisphere, all the way down to the tip of Argentina. All right, those are Israelites, those indigenous peoples, so-called. All right. So let's go back and just remember Dr. Claude Anderson here. Now here's his book again, Dirty Little Secrets about Black History, its heroes, and other troublemakers. Now, I was telling you about Lincoln. It even goes about the destruction of Fort Negro, which was when Spain actually owned Florida, what we now call Florida. All right. Let me get this real quick. Hold on. Let's see. The truth about Grant. Let's see. Here we go. Lincoln didn't free. Let me see if you can see it here. Switching hands. Hold on. I should have set up my tripod. But anyway, hopefully you can see it. Let's see. Nah, you can't. Hold on. Alright, you can see the top where my fingers are. Lincoln did not free the slaves. Alright. I'm going to read a little bit of the top, maybe the first paragraph, and then skip down to what's in green. Alright. Hold on. It says, historical facts suggest President Lincoln was everything but the great emancipator of black slaves. During the earlier years of the Civil War, President Lincoln publicly claimed he would not and could not free black slaves. He even acknowledged that the Civil War was not about black people, but about national unity. Lincoln was not passive in his support of slavery, even when Union commanders issued orders freeing slaves in captured Confederate territory. Lincoln blocked such orders at least twice. Lincoln's position was strengthened by the U.S. Congress in 1861 when it passed and referred to the states in an amendment to the Constitution that guaranteed that Congress could never abolish black slavery in America. Few Northern politicians had any interest. Let me read that again for you that say, that believe the North is any better. Few Northern politicians had any interest in freeing black slaves. They were concerned about breaking the wealth and political power base of the South. And here's the really good part. Most politicians knew that Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation was a sham. Lincoln was president of the Union only. He could not and did not free black slaves. The Emancipation Proclamation spoke gloriously about freeing slaves in the Deep South, over which the Union had no authority. Yet it ignored blacks in the border states over which Lincoln did have authority. Sounds like a politician, right? The attitude of Lincoln and his administration was succinctly put in Lincoln's letter of December 22nd, 1860, to Alexander Stephens, soon to become Vice President of the Confederacy. And I quote, "Do the people of the South really entertain fears that a Republican administration would, directly or indirectly, interfere with the slave or with them about the slaves? If they do, I wish to assure you, as once a friend and still, I hope, not an enemy, that there is no more danger in this respect than it was in the days of Washington," as in George Washington. Even the British press, get this, even the British press regarded the Emancipation Proclamation as sheer hypocrisy. The Times of London sarcastically remarked that Lincoln considered himself a sort of moral American pope, where he has no power. Mr. Lincoln will set the Negro free. Where he retains power, he would consider them as slaves. Lincoln died holding the same views about blacks that he held firmly throughout his public life. Your great emancipator. And the next one, if you can see here, hold on. The next page at the top, the great emancipator's sick joke. All right. There is an old adage that whatever a man jokes about is what he truly feels in his heart. If there is any truth in this saying, it speaks poorly for President Abraham Lincoln. After Elijah Lovejoy, an anti-slavery editor, had been killed by pro-slavery forces, Lincoln made a joke about his death. In a speech in Worcester, Massachusetts, he said, "I have heard you have abolitionists here. We have a few in Illinois, and we shot one the other day." The crowd roared with laughter. But on the serious side, many of Lincoln's formal statements revealed he held no love for blacks, free or enslaved. So there you go. Something else they didn't teach you, Douglas, as in Frederick Douglass, attacked by mob. Just to go to show you that, law enforcement's in on it too. All right, it says, during the Civil War, free blacks did not have the right to assemble and protest even in the North. On December 3rd, 1861, a pro-slavery white mob attacked a black rally in Boston, organized by black activist Frederick Douglass, in honor and memory of abolitionist John Brown. Brown had been executed by the federal government for his raid on Harper's Ferry, Virginia, attempting to seize weapons and free black slaves. Rather than protecting Douglass and his supporters from the white mob, The local police joined the attacking mob and broke up the rally. Something else should be noted, just how hateful these Edomites are. They mentioned John Brown there at Harper's Ferry, where, he led a raid and, it didn't succeed. He was executed. So what had happened, I'll show you, it was a little war within a war type of thing. They made up a song. It's called John Brown's Body. Well, those that, of course, hated us, and they said, nah, fuck that. So this is where you had the song came about. Oh my goodness, I can't, just drew a blank. Was it Battle Hymn of the Republic? It's called John Brown's Body. Hold on. I want to save this. Let's see. Hold on, that's not it. Well, as a matter of fact, yeah, might as well while I'm in there. Let's see. So you'll know what I'm talking about. John Brown's Body. Hold on. Let's see. Ah. Dang it. There we go. John Brown's Body. Let's see. How it was redone. Hold on. Ah. What is his name? Yeah, from Monty Alexander. What it morphed into from the islands.
Monty Alexander. Monty Alexander.
That's enough. I don't want to get, but I'm sure you recognize it by now. So, yeah, one of those little uh, uh, factoids. All right. Let's see what else. Oh, let me go back to Daniel and I'll finish it out. But this is all hate. Nobody wants us to remember who we are. All right. Let's see, where did I leave off? Uh, 15. So verse 15 says, and now, O Most High Yahweh, our power, not everybody else's, thou hast brought thy people forth out of the land of Egypt with a mighty hand, and has gotten thee renown as at this day. We have sinned, we have done wickedly. All right. And it's, and his prayer says, O Most High, according to all thy righteousness I beseech thee. And this is what we're doing now. This is why we're out here on the highways and byways. All right. It says, let thine anger and thy fury be turned away from thy city Jerusalem, thy holy mountain because of for our sins and for the iniquities of our fathers Jerusalem, and thy people are become a reproach to all that are about us. And have we not? You know, I was on public transportation on the bus today, and I was reminded because, hey, you know how low we have sunk, as the expression goes, by what? The state of our women. And these Jake women, they were on the bus, they were talking like drunken sailors. I kid you not. And we just had an incident here in the district a couple of days ago. A lady got jumped. She just asked them to quit cussing, right? And they beat her up and kicked her off the bus. All right. So yeah, like Jeremiah says, pray not for these people. In fact, let me get that real quick because our people are gone. Even though that was not the topic of this video, but these are the curses. Let's see. Let's see. This is 7 and 16. It says, therefore pray not that. Well, actually, let me start up. Oh, man. Let me start at 12. But go ye now unto my place which was in Shiloh, where I set my name at the first, and see what I did to it for the wickedness of my people Israel. And now, because ye have done all these works, saith the Most High, and I spake unto you, rising up early and speaking, but ye heard not, and I called you, but ye answered not. Therefore will I do unto this house, which is called by my name, wherein ye trusted, unto the place which I gave to you and to your fathers, as I have done to Shiloh. And I will cast you out of my sight, as I have cast out all your brethren, even the whole seed of Ephraim. This is talking about when the northern kingdom was cast out. That's 2 Kings 17th chapter, and why they ended up on this side of the world. 16, therefore pray not thou for this people, neither lift up cry nor prayer for them, neither make intercession to me, for I will not hear thee. This applies now because we're out here. There's all kinds of videos for the last, how many number of years. But what do our people do? They watch it for entertainment mainly. They pass us by on the streets. They fan the hand. They mock us. Some even want to get violent, but that's coming. These persecutions are just going to get worse and worse. But hey, as it says here, you're not supposed to be sorry for them. They're going to get their judgment. All right. But again, this all goes back to the curses. That's why I showed you that video. Here it is again. Okay. Dr. Claude Anderson. All these things, and the one other point he made that was real good, I hope everybody caught, how they very slyly, very slick with these Judas goat-ass leaders that we had, managed to get the attention off of us, in particular, and our leaders helped them with this. Such things as Rainbow Coalition and all that. What does that have to do with our problems? So now everybody comes over here from other countries. They use us, our platform, as a springboard for theirs. And after they get established, they don't want nothing no more to do with us. And we fall for it every fucking time. The latest one to do this is the LGBTQ. BLM was just a front for them. Surely our people are Sodom's children. Let's get that real quick. Actually, let's get two of them. Let's go to Hosea first. This is Hosea chapter 4 verse 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee. It's not saying second Samuel, I think it's second chapter, verse 3, that the Most High is a God of knowledge. That thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power. I will also forget thy children. And he has. If you go up to the top of the same chapter, Hosea 4, it goes into that. But for time's sake, I'm going to finish it out with Jeremiah 4 here. Alright. Let's go to 22, straight to the point. It says, for my people is foolish. They have not known me. They are sottish children, and they have none understanding. Even though we're trying to show them these things, we're trying to show them word for word what it says. In many cases, they can't get it because why? They've been blinded. Alright. They are wise to do evil. You see it every day out here on the streets. Wise to do evil. You see it on the news. But to do good, they have no knowledge. Even though they think they're doing good by going to these whorehouses they call churches. And not realizing that was set up to misguide them all along. Hey, so with that, once again, it started out, this is a civil rights movement. Dr. Claude Anderson, going into that, it was focused on the wrong goal, as it says. Alright. And it did. That's how they messed us over. That's how they misled us on purpose. Alright. Get it off of you and get it to focus on minorities in general. That's why we can't. Our needs are different from everybody else's. That should be common sense. But you see, the perpetrators, the real criminals, they did this because, again, now everybody's like, well, we went through the same thing. No, you didn't. We're minorities too. We should get, see? Hey, so with that, once again, like I was going to say, I hope everybody, is edified by what's going on, by this video in particular. But you have to understand what's going on now. This devil is falling out of his power seat. His kingdom is going to shit. Alright. So you're seeing all these things, and things are speeding up now. So you're going to see a different, not so much a different side. You're going to see the old Edomite, like from the turn of the last century type shit. Alright. Because he can't afford to play nice anymore. Alright. So he's going to have to resort to his blessing, his sword. Other than being deceitful, he's just going to have to come out with it. Hey, so with that, hey, shalom.